Hi, yogis. Welcome. Thanks for joining me on your mat today. We are going to be working on just loosening up our hips, giving some space for our lower back, and just kind of like wiggling out any tension that we feel like we've had building up in that part of our body. So, just a shorter flow to help kind of get you ready for the day, or if you've been doing like big hikes lately, if you're a skier, if you're like exercising the lower half of your body, if you like to get on the spinning bike, those things can cause a lot of tightening around this area, which is good because you're strengthening, but you also want to like find a way to de-stress that area and loosen it back up. So that's the purpose of our practice. I would love for you to start in child's pose today. So come into child's pose. Your knees are not as wide as your mat. They're just slightly wider than your hips. Your belly's resting on your thighs. Your arms reach out, forehead connecting towards the earth. Letting go of shoulder tension. Take a moment just to close your eyes, connect to your space. The space you've created for this practice, the time you carved out. Letting go of any monkey mind that might be tagging along for today. Deep breath in through your nose. Sigh that breath out. Inhale through your nose, come up onto hands and knees. Start to find your ujjayi breath, so breathing in and out through your nose, melting the heart with your next inhale, finding cat-cow, rounding, exhale. Just get the spine moving here. Inhale, melting the heart, creating that little ha sound with your breath. Exhale, same ha sound. Melting the heart, widening across the collarbones. Exhale, rounding, creating space. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful, inhale. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back into down dog. And I love a down dog, so just pedal out your legs here. Once you've kind of wiggled around a little bit, and that might take you longer, you find stillness, wrapping the triceps down, turning the biceps and the eye of the elbow forward and up, bending the knees a little bit, finding length in the spine. The heels are heavy, the toes are spread, the fingers are spread, the navel's hugging the lower back, neck is neutral, breath is with you. Good. Take your right leg up to the sky, bend your knee and open up your hip. With an exhale, step your right foot forward, and you're taking your right foot right next to the inner right thumb. Left knee comes down. We'll just move first dynamically, drawing your chest through, and you have blocks under your hands if you need it. Exhale, shift back and just fold over your front shin. We'll just do this a couple times. Inhale, draw forward, heart pulls through, hips are kind of pressing forward. And we can assess, exhale, shift back where we're at with our flexibility, with our tightness. One more time. Shift forward. And hips shift back. Ardha Hanuman. Good. Rebend this front knee. Take your foot over to the right. Bring your back knee in so you have this boxy shape in your body. And then hands are inside of your right foot. And I know for some of us, we're like, okay, what is a stretch? I love this pose. I learned this from my Anna Forest training. And I just honestly feel like it's the best thing to help my sacrum feel like it's safe, it's open, and you don't necessarily feel it during the stretch. You feel it later. So pose benefits, gives way to just that release that we all need in our lower back. So if you're comfortable here, you can stay here. You also can lower to your forearms or use a block. I encourage you to let your head hang, and we're going to take about, 6 to 8 breaths here, just enough. So for me today, I'm so tight in my hamstrings. I feel this immensely in my right hamstring, but really nothing around my lower back, and that's pretty normal. So wherever your breath needs to go, for example, my hamstring, that's where I'm going to focus breathing into. Relax your hands, your jaw, your face. Those things don't need to be involved here. Even your shoulders, if they're tensing at all, try to relax. Beautiful. You can always stay here longer if you like. Otherwise, we're going to go into another version. So we're coming back up onto our hands. You're going to lift your back left knee up and then wiggle it back. So more of a lizard stretch. This one, we're going to start with our right knee hugging up against our right shoulder and just inching that left knee back till you feel a good stretch. Now, so for me today, I almost feel like this is deep enough. If you want to go further, you can go down onto your forearms, keeping the right knee hugging in to start. Head hanging, tension relieving in your neck, jaw, face, everything is relaxed there. Hips talking to you, maybe the front of your left hip now is saying, okay, here I am. Just pay attention. Where do you feel this? This next version, you can stay again here, or you can come with me. So feel free to come up onto your hands. You're letting your right knee roll open now. Maybe you're rolling to the outer edge of your right foot, only if that feels good on the foot. Again, you can adjust by lifting into that back knee. So maybe you're here on your hands, you can go to your forearms, or I'm going to do a tiny little opening where I'm placing my right hand on my right thigh, spiraling open. The left hand's going to go wider to the left. So even off your mat if you like. And then just breathe there. This is pretty darn intense for me right now. So you don't want it to hurt. Just feel good. Find a way to relax your neck more wherever you are. Oof. All right. Changing it up again. Take your right foot now and you're going to heel toe the right foot until it's on the left side of your mat, setting up for pigeon. For me, my right heel has to slide back in order for me to be comfortable. Great opportunity to use your props. You can take a block and place it underneath your right hip if you have a lot of space there. So just find your place, lift the back knee and square the hips, lengthen your torso, and then fold over that front shin. Eventually, you're working towards parallel with the front shin. It might never happen. Safer to have your right ankle flexed and your heel back. All right, so we're right over the top of our hips. We're not leaning to one side or the other at this point. If this does not work in your front knee, you can go onto your back, cross your right ankle over your left thigh and thread the eye of the needle. If you're here and you think you might be able to go flat, you can try this technique where you're stacking your fist and making a little shelf for your head. I really appreciate that. If you don't have any props, it's a great one. Tune into your breath. Our hips are kind of a place where we store old memories, store old situations, store the gunk, the stuff, the junk of our life. A lot of that stuff is no longer really relevant. Is there stuff that you can unload and release today? The idea that the tighter your hips are, the more stuff you're holding on to. Maybe, maybe not, but really think of going into the hips, de-stressing that space in the body. Take about 3 more breaths here. I'm going to switch this up one more time. So crawl up onto your hands. Let yourself sit over onto that right hip now. Feels really good. And then take your left foot in and you're turning, kind of taking your torso towards your extended right foot. So finding just a place here to bow over that shin. Breathing. In this circumstance, if your foot can come forward more parallel across your mat, that's great. Oh yeah, there's the spot. And then just breathe. Soften neck and shoulders. If you're kind of tensing because it's so intense, back out of it a little. It doesn't need to be the hardest thing you've done. Last couple breaths here. Let go a little bit more. Crawl up onto your hands. Take your right heel, pull it back in a little bit so you can come over almost your pigeon and step back into down dog. Take your right leg to the sky. Woo-hoo. Shake out that right leg. Bend the knee, circle the knee around, whatever you need to feel like you have a little bit of a release. All right, left leg to the sky. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Step all the way through, right inside of your left hand. Lower the back knee down. We start up on our fingertips or use your blocks here. So definitely use blocks if you feel tighter. I'm keeping my back toe tucked under just so I can get a little stretch in that foot. So you're inhaling, shifting hips forward, opening your chest. Exhale, shifting back, flexing the left ankle. This is just dynamic to start. Inhale, pull hips forward. Exhale, shift hips back. And you're going to get more out of this because you just stretched that right hip so much, so you'll feel it. Inhale, shifting forward. You'll feel it here for that right hip as a release. Shifting back, exhale. Come back forward. Bend your left foot, left knee. Wiggle your foot out to the left a little bit and then bring your right knee in. So it's right below your hip. And yes, please pad your knee if you have tender knees. This is that little boxy pose that we're doing, so lowering to your forearms or blocks if you have it. This side, I can actually feel a little stretch across my lower back, so it's good. You kind of feel that stretch more than just the hamstring. Head and neck just hanging. Fingers relaxed. Breathing. Letting your torso come inside of that left leg as best it can. Some of us are stuck up on the leg, and that's okay. You'll get there over time. Remember, whatever you did or didn't do, so if you exercised or didn't exercise, if you sat all day or didn't sit all day, that all affects how your body feels. Every single time we come to our mat, we're dealing with a slightly different version of ourselves. That means your practice is slightly going to be different every single time. You'll feel different things. You'll be able to do different things and not do different things. So there is not this constant upward trajectory of our practice. It's kind of constantly changing, evolving, shifting forward, shifting back. Beautiful. Crawl up onto your hands. Let's change this a little bit. You're going to shift back through your right knee. So you're in this nice, deep lizard. If you have lower back pain and this doesn't feel right, you don't go this far. You can stay just here on your forearms. Think about relaxing that back foot or coming down to forearms. Hands or forearms. Oh man. As you're here, find your depth, keeping your knee hugging up against your left shoulder to start. Breathe. Experience the sensations that are happening in your body. We'll switch it up a little if you like. Crawl up onto your hands. Let yourself roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Adjust that back knee. It's like the first time I'm like, oh, darn it, I don't have a blanket right next to me, but it's great to practice with one. So reaching right hand over to the right, left hand up onto the left thigh if that feels good. You can drop to your right forearm. I don't really like doing that. But you're not sagging into the shoulder, right? So if you're finding yourself all stunted by that shoulder, press into your hand, spin open a little bit. You can do the same pose without rolling to the outer edge of your left foot. So realize what's appropriate in your body today. Hands released to the mat. We walk our left foot across, setting up for pigeon. If you're like me, you'll have to slide that left foot back quite a bit. Bring your knee down. Knee pain issues here, go to your back. Don't even risk it. This front foot is flexed. The back foot straight back. So you can check it out. Squaring the hips and shoulders. You're not like leaning onto one side here. And then you're coming right over the shin. Let's do that little stacking of the hands again if you want to join me. Elbows go a little wider. And just taking the tension out of the neck. Letting go of all that stuff that's built up. I love the visual of your hips being these suitcases, and we always try to fit that last item into our suitcase when we're going to the airport. So it's like, supposed to be 50 pounds, and it's like 51. And I love it when they say, is there something you can take out of there? And so that's that moment right now. Is there a couple things you can unload that you don't need that can get you to a place that's more manageable? I always use this excuse at the airport that my scale at home must be different than yours. And usually that works. But today, that's not the purpose. The purpose is, let's get rid of the old memories or the old conversations that are floating in our head that are just weighing us down, that don't even have relevance in our life today. Move past. One more here. So let's crawl up onto hands. Do sit off onto your left hip. Bend your right knee, making this kind of, windmilling shape in your body. If you can, bring your left heel a little bit more forward. If it's slid back, flex your ankle strongly. Take yourself at an angle here and just fold towards your foot. Oof. You'll feel your hamstring and a little bit of your IT band release here, I think. Or I'm just so tight that that's where it's getting me today. So again, don't go any further than you can without it feeling like, okay, that's enough. Your body knows. It's when we push into that deeper place unnecessarily that we get injured. Use your breath as a tool to open up more. If you're gritting your teeth, stop doing that. Let everything just be right now. Neck relaxes a little bit more. Breath deepens. Mind softens. Call to hands. Let your heel come back just for the ease of movement. Come onto your hands. Tuck your back right toes and take your left leg all the way to the sky. Shake it out. Oof. Foot down. Knees down, feet come around and in front of you. Let's find Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. Sit up tall. My feet aren't all the way in and they're not all the way out, so they're just kind of right in the middle. Sit up tall, lengthen your spine, and then let yourself fold. You can do shins pressing, elbows pressing on shins, or hands walking forward, which is my favorite. Let your back body open up. Take a couple breaths here. Let that neck go. Keep reminding yourself to let the tension go in your body. Slowly round coming up. Scoop the knees in. Position yourself so you can come down onto your back. Do it with ease, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Come down, draw your knees in, and rock side to side. I've got one more for you here. Well, really two more. I lied. Left foot to the ground, right leg to the sky. Grab behind the belly of the hamstring or the calf. You can also use a strap around your foot. If it feels appropriate, you'll stretch your left leg out. Breathe, relax your neck and shoulders. Let go of the back body, the backs of the legs, helping to let tension off of the lower back. Rebend your left leg. Cross your right thigh all the way over the left leg. Take your hands to the outer shins to start. Keep both sides of your waist equal here. What tends to happen is the right side will shorten on this first side. You can hold there, or you can grab your heels, almost like you're driving a car with your hands, like a big wheel. And just tailbone down. This can be done with your feet, shins parallel to the ground and legs straight across, or heels down. So see which one you get more out of, but do keep a flex in your ankles. Don't let the ankles twist here. Relax your neck and shoulders as best you can. And release. Right sole of the foot to the ground, left foot to the sky, hand behind the belly of the hamstring or the calf. Flex your left ankle, spread your toes out. You'll feel that in your foot. Extend the right leg if you wish. Straps are super handy in anything with the hamstrings. Nice to have all of your props nearby just in case you might want one. As you get into the back body, just notice what comes up for you. Could be thoughts about your body, how tight you might be or how loose you might be today. It could be just anything. Just be aware of your thoughts right now. Bend your right leg, cross your left thigh all the way over the right. Start by grabbing the outer ankles or shins. I like to pick my feet up about the height of my knees, so that's where I'm going to start this. And then lengthen into your left side body as you flex your ankles a lot here. You might feel like you can reach for your heels, and if you can, try it. As you're getting into the outer hips, the IT band, it's normal. I feel like almost a little tingling in my left shin and ankle right now. So just knowing that I'm accessing something that was really, really tight feels good. If it hurts or feels intense in a good way, stay with it. If it feels like you're killing yourself, back off. It is so not worth it. Trust me. Take a couple more breaths here. Just close your eyes. Let it go. Beautiful. Release your hands from your feet. Last one, happy baby pose. Knees draw to outer rib cage. Feel free to rock a little bit. Hands release from feet. We're going to do one bridge, and that's just going to help us release those hip flexors that might feel a little pinched. So feet are hips width. This is not your deepest bridge. Arms alongside your body. Lift your hips up. You can walk your shoulders in if you like, and just feel length from your shoulder heads all the way to your knees here. Scoop your tailbone under. You're not dumping into your lower back. Chin off of chest. Gazing straight up. Walk shoulders wide, roll down upper, mid, and lower back. Swish knees side to side, just once each direction. Or twice, because that feels even better. Knees come in, give yourself a little hug. Thank you for your practice. Deep breath in. Spread out on your mat. Shavasana. give yourself a little bit of time here to soak in the stretch of your practice, closing the eyes, softening the body. If you have a few minutes, that's ideal. And this is the end of our practice together. Allowing yourself to feel full. Feel like you did enough, you are enough, you have enough. And I thank you for joining me today. Namaste. May the divine in me greet and honor the divine in you. I love practicing with you. Thanks for being here.